last week or so it's been very cold. We've woken up with frozen car windows first thing in the morning and so on. But this morning we've woken up to pretty heavy snow. But it is a Sunday and I hadn't planned to go out today, so at least we can stay in the house and keep warm. Well, during winter weather like this, it is a luxury to be able to stay indoors and keep warm, but the wild animals and birds have no such luxury. And during the winter months, they need all the help they can get. I generally put out food in my garden all year round, because in the springtime when there's chicks around, the birds will need extra food. But during the winter time, especially during weather like this, it's incredibly important to put out food for them, and a good mixture of food too for the various different species, everything from seed to nuts and mealworms and fat balls and so on. Well, I'd estimate we've had about 10 centimetres during the night, and it's still snowing now. A few birds around, there's some pigeons and mainly starlings. Male blackbird just arrived now, prefers to pick food off the floor. Always scatter seed and a few mealworms around and maybe some berries. A robin on the table now. A lot of people say how fat birds look at this time of year, but they puff up their feathers to trap in the heat, but to generate that heat they need to put on fat, so it is very important that they get enough food. When you look at starlings this closely, you can really see what a stunning bird they are. And incredibly, this once very common bird has declined enough to be given a red status by the RSPB. And the same with the house sparrow. Recent monitoring suggests that there's been a 71% decline in the house sparrow population between 1977 and 2008. Starlings have moved from the fat balls now to the mealworms on the table. They are great birds, but they do tend to hog the table, and none of the smaller birds can get a look in. I was talking just now about the decline in the population of house sparrows here in the UK. Well, that's both urban and rural populations have declined. The recent survey suggests that the population is on the increase in Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland, which is good news. I wonder if this blackbird is the male featured in my blackbird nest diary back in the summer. I wonder how those chicks fared after they fledged. Hope they all survived. These house sparrows actually roost in our hedges, which is nice. More and more starlings arriving now. I've obviously heard that there's food around on the starling grapevine. We sometimes get a bit of a feeding frenzy going on. A lot of aggression between the various birds. There's no such thing as share and share alike when it comes to food. It's important that the individual bird gets enough food to stay alive. It's all about dominance and hierarchy. We've got a couple of starlings having a stare off at the moment. And one of them will give way. Looks like it's going to be the one on the right, as he bows his head and turns and gets a peck for his trouble. We had baby robins in the garden this year. Wonder if this is one of the parent birds. You can't necessarily guarantee it. And we've got collared dove who just arrived now to feed. The robin back on the table again. The starling feeding frenzy seems to have ended. Collared doves are not native to the UK. They only came here in the 1950s after spreading across Europe from the Middle East. There's still a few starlings around as the snow continues, and it really is very important to feed the birds, and you get the pleasure of watching them. I'll see you next time.